And let's also record to cloud. All right, thank you everybody for joining us. Let me do some screen sharing here and we'll get started. All right, thank you everybody for joining us for another Smart With Your Money Live. My name is Felipe Arevalo. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator here at DebtWave Credit Counseling, San Diego Financial Literacy Center. And today we're talking money mindset. We're talking scarcity versus abundance. And hopefully we can, get some of you understanding more about money mindsets. And then hopefully also, maybe you already understand it and you know that which one you fall in and you're trying to shift to the other. So today we're going to go over scarcity versus abundance. And just as a heads up, you're going to want to move from scarcity towards abundance, but we'll get started. First, money, what exactly? What is a money mindset? If you've never heard of it, it's a great place to start. What is it? So first, I want to give credit. I did borrow some of his content from the DebtWave blog written by Katie on the DebtWave site, and I'll give you a link for it a couple times. But money mindset is it defines how you think of money. The way it's just basically the way we view money, just like the way you would view anything else. Maybe you have a good mindset towards dogs. I love dogs. Maybe you don't. That means you're scared of them. That means the way you'll react to them. So money mindset is just how we think and how we act and how we react to money. And this can include a whole bunch of different things. What you can and can't do with money. Should you spend it right away? Should you save it? Should you give it all back? Share it with the world? And also how you manage your debt. Is debt just a part of life? Do you want to avoid it at all costs? There's so much to all this personal finance thing that goes back to what is your mindset towards money. I often ask people when we do budgeting presentations, like, what are your first money memories? What are the things that in your past that helped shape the way you view money now? Whether it's in a positive way or a negative way, a combination of the two. But there's so much within money. Some people feel they deserve more money or they don't deserve the money that they do have. And a lot of this, if you can change the mindset, change the paradigm to a positive one as opposed to a negative one, you're going to be able to really change your money situation, starting with just the mindset. So first, if I haven't already confused you, an analogy. It's like when you think of movies, we all have an idea in movies and stories of what the personality traits, what the hero will be like. And then we have an idea of what the villain will be like, the way they're going to react, the way they fit into these molds. So, there's also these molds, these archetypes for, that's a cool word. I had to ask Google to help me pronounce it though. So, what are your money archetypes? What molds, what personalities do you fit in, whether it's the good ones or the bad ones, the villains? And the three main money archetypes is, scarcity. There is and never will be enough money. Or, there's good enough. I have what I need. I'm just fine where I'm at, and then there's limitless abundance, which is I need to have it all. I want more. I want to save more. And that's really where you want to try and get to the abundance side. Especially if you're leaning towards scarcity, you want to try and shift your way of thinking into more of an abundance mindset and try and make more money, try and pay off your debts so that you can start saving your interest or saving your money and making interest work for you as opposed to against you. Having your money, work for you as opposed to you work for your money, whether it's investing or saving or just not paying interest on debt, switching to the mindset to a more abundance type mindset. And that's really where we're going to concentrate from, how to switch from scarcity to abundance, how to switch from, I don't deserve this, or where you're kind of almost fighting yourself, to put yourself in a better financial situation to where you're putting in the effort and you're not limiting yourself in any kind of way to improve your financial situation, to make changes, whether it's for yourself, whether it's you're looking to make generational wealth changes and change your family's financial outlook for you in the moment, for you now, for generations to come, and breaking the different cycles that may take place. So how do we move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance? And then maybe even if you have little ones, how can we shift that train of thought from a young age so that they fall more into the abundance as they start to progress through their financial life, through their own financial journey, and make it so that maybe they don't learn the hard way, like, I don't know about you, but like I did. Maybe they don't have to go through that building debt and then paying off debt and then all the stress that comes along with it, and they can kind of start from more of an abundance standpoint when it comes to all these different things. So, but first, you might be wondering, well, what am I? Am I in abundance? Am I scarcity? Where do I fall on this little scale? And it's a scale. It's not a one shop or one stop fits all. But you might be wondering, where do you fit? So for this first one, let's play a game. And again, I borrowed this game from the DebtWave blog. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I give credit to the proper content creator. It's right there. You can check out the whole blog. You'll see, like, wow, he borrowed a lot of things. But I definitely did borrow this game. So let's play a game. I'm going to give you the start of a sentence, and you play along at home, whether you're watching this live right now or you're watching this later on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you watch these. I'm going to give you the start of a sentence. You fill it with it's going to be missing the last word. You fill it in and see what, do it quickly. I'm going to go quickly. Money is the root of all. Earning money is. Money doesn't grow on. And rich people are. So now you take a look at it and you see, how did you answer those questions? I'm willing to bet, I'm not a betting person, but I'm willing to bet that you answered it a little like this. Money is the root of all evil. Earning money is hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. And a lot of times I get this one, rich people are bad. So how you answered them, maybe you answered them a little bit differently, can go on to say a lot about your money mindset. And maybe you've been working on this, or maybe you just inherently answered them. Money is the root of all freedom. Earning money is easy. Money doesn't grow on inaction, or rich people are giving. Those would be a really abundance type mindset. I also think there's a little bit of a societal thing to have you answer in the scarcity mindset, because we've all heard money doesn't grow on trees and money is the root of all evil, but I don't often hear, and it's maybe as a general population, you don't often hear the other side of the argument. So maybe you try and create that shift. So I got scarcity. I know I did when I first took it. So now what? So now we're going to go over some of the different things you can do, and there's more of them, but I wanted to just kind of get you started on a few, and it's going to, it's not going to happen overnight, like most things that you're trying to, whether it's you're trying to get in a good habit or break a bad habit, it's not just going to happen overnight. You're going to have to, it's going to take a while, but here are some steps to help you get started. And again, there's a lot more of them that you're going to need to take, that you'll have to look up. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 for this, in next year or whenever. But so you got scarcity. Now, what are you going to try and do? The first thing is we got to work towards change. And Albert Einstein said, the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking, and we cannot change without changing our thinking. So your financial situation that you're in right now, that I'm in right now, that everyone's in their own little financial situation, right? Outside circumstances, but also the things, the way our thinking helped create it, our actions helped create whatever financial situation that we're in. So if we can change the thinking, that's a good way to start changing our financial situation, because our thinking is part of what got us to where we are now. I don't know that Albert Einstein was talking about money when he came up with this quote. He was probably thinking of something far more elaborate. Although I would argue that sometimes money is just as elaborate as E = MC squared. Definitely not as much math though. And it's important to change your thinking first, and then that can help guide your actions as you go forward with money. If you stop beating yourself up about things, if you change, and that's a hard one, that's something I still like, man, you shouldn't have done that. How many times have we said that? I know I say it to myself still to this day, and it's like, well, you can't go back and change it, Phil. You need to just move on. So you want to create change, and the first thing you got to do also is, remember, you're going to create that mind change, but you're going to have to put in work. Again, I don't know if Rihanna meant this when she said work. I was going to put a Britney Spears gift, but that was going to get me in trouble. You'll have to look up that one on your own regarding work. But if you're going to make the effort to make that change, it is going to take effort, and it is going to take time, and you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to work on yourself. See, I made a Britney Spears Rihanna joke, and I lost a viewer. But you have to put in the work and the effort, and it's not going to be easy, but it is going to, you're going to see the benefit in the long run. But you have to be willing to put in the work and the effort right now, and every day going forward, to change your money mindset from that scarcity to that abundance. Or maybe they're just really excited, they want to go look up that Britney Spears gift, and that's why they left. But it will, if you're going to make a change, and you've probably tried this in other aspects of your life, you're trying to make a change for the better, and you're trying to change something that you're doing, or remove a bad habit, it takes effort. And changing your mindset towards money, about money, is going to take effort. But it's important to remember, you're in control. This is your money telling you, you want me, earn me. You're in control of your money. You're in control of your financial decisions. And yes, there are going to be, life happens moments, financial good and bad things that will happen that weren't necessarily in your control. Some happen every day. You can't control exactly what grocery prices will do. We can't control gas prices. As an individual, we can't go out and, raise our hand and say, hey, gas station, can you make it a little cheaper? It won't work. So there are things that are outside of your control, but so many of the things that you can control. You can decide whether or not you're going to use a budget, whether or not you're going to have that money conversation with your significant other, whether or not you want to actively teach your little ones about money. Do I put the credit card away? Do I buy the things I like? How many are on here because you just rather be on here than online shopping for Prime Day? I know I was getting ready to make this presentation like a 3-hour thing to keep myself away from Prime Day, right? But you're in control. You could just put your phone down and not go on Amazon and not get that great deal, or not swing by, Walmart or Target or whoever is competing with Amazon with their own deals. So there's so many things that you have to remind yourself that you're in control of your money situation to a very large extent, whether you've thought so in the past or you didn't think so. It plays a big role once you can kind of take that, I'm gonna mess this up, like internal, I'm gonna really mess it up. It's like from a business class a long time ago. The internal locus of control as opposed to an external one. I'm gonna have to fact check myself on that one. But internal, external. But it puts you in the driver's seat as much as you possibly can, and that's going to change potentially your money outlook. And it's important to remember, it's not a zero-sum game. You can go out and make a ton of money. It doesn't affect me. If I'm out there making money, if I'm out there doing, it doesn't affect the people around you. So you don't have to feel guilty about it. You go out and make that money. You go out, save and invest and pay off your debt so that you can stop paying interest. Reduce your interest rates through whatever means you can. That doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect your neighbor. It doesn't affect your coworkers or anything like that. You making money, you being successful doesn't have a negative effect. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not you made money, so I lose money. There's plenty of it to go around, and it's just a matter of changing that mindset. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel bad about you going out there and hustling, and you going out there and making that change and making that shift in your own mindset. I'm gonna paraphrase Tupac here, because again, I don't think I could use the actual quote, but I guess change is good for any of us, whatever it takes for any of y'all to get up and change your financial situation. I'm with you. I'm not mad at you. Got nothing but love for you. Do your thing, right? I paraphrase. I have to look up the original lyrics, but you can make that change and make it a positive one. And as I mentioned, there's more things you could do. I could just go on forever so that I can avoid having any ability to take those lightning deals on Prime Day. But here are 4 more quick ones. You journal about your finances. And again, I borrowed these from the DebtWave blog, which I included the little link here, so you can just scan it, or you can check out Money Mindset at DebtWave. You can just Google it and it'll pop up. Meet with a financial therapist or financial coach, consumer credit counseling, or free financial education classes. And you can read about it again more on the DebtWave site and change that fundamental way you look at money. And that could change a whole lot of things. Change that paradigm, and you can succeed and you can accomplish it. And hopefully this will motivate you to start looking into it more, start making that active decision to go out and change the way you view money so that it can change your financial situation. Any questions? Usually this is where I add the link to the blogs and stuff, but I did that in the last slide. Any mindset questions? Budget questions? I got a question here. How much of money is mindset? I would argue that a huge percentage of money is the mindset, because money and spending and buying, it's all emotion, whether we think about it or not. Obviously there's those needs, the things we need. We're thinking like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, those bottom 2 ones, you need them. But even within those, there could be different variations. You need housing. Maybe you don't need that big of a housing. You need clothing. Maybe you don't need that fancy clothing. So even in those lower parts of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you're still looking at money mindset playing a role in it. Whether you say, I'm going to treat myself, or whether you say, no, I don't deserve to go buy this. It goes both different ways. So I would argue that your mindset is a huge component of your financial situation. And that's why maybe just that awareness, and maybe that just being able to look back internally and say, okay, I understand now. This is how I view money, and this has at times guided my financial decisions. Just that looking in can be enough to, okay, I need to change and adapt and move in a different direction. I always wish when I was in college I had tracked my expenses and realized how much I was actually spending. Because I think I'd like to give myself enough credit that I would have looked at that number and said, oh, wow, you're really messing this up. And then maybe that would have triggered me to say, you know, I could hold off on another sushi night or a third Starbucks today, and just kind of save a little more. But I just didn't have that mindset. I think if I'd have seen it, it would have been so jarring. It would have been, whoa, let me change something. And maybe that would have changed the way I look at it and my different mindsets. So great question though. Any other questions? And I know a couple of you joined in late. If you did miss the beginning part of it, don't fear. You can always go watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on the website, on the DebtWave website. You can see them as well under Smart With Your Money Live. You can see the link to all the ones we've done by topic. Also, you can, if you're want to change your finances and you just got a little bit of time every day, under the SDFLC or San Diego Financial Literacy Center social medias, I'm doing daily swim tips, so daily Smart With Your Money tips. These are short, less than 30 seconds, one little thing. Some of them will apply to you, some of them won't, but just little things you can change. And so they're fun usually, but you know, just little daily tips. So don't forget to follow the SDFLC on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all the other social media platforms. And for your daily Smart With Your Money tip. Any questions? All right, well, thank you. And you can always continue learning. Our next episode, lending money to family and friends. Should I do it? If you guys want to guess what I would say, but join us. And this is part one of a two-part series that we got coming up, where we're going to go back-to-back weeks with Smart With Your Money Live. Usually there's 2 weeks in between. We're going back-to-back with this next one. So July 26th, we have lending money to friends, and then we'll be back the next week after that to find out if you're a financial enabler or not. They kind of go hand in hand, so we decided to put them together. Someone asked, when will today's be posted on the YouTube channel? By the end of the day. Usually in a couple hours it'll be up there. So great question. Oh, there you go. That was the next one. I was like, I'm seeing it, but you guys aren't seeing it. Again, so there's part one of a two-part series that we're going back-to-back weeks. Are you signs of a financial, and are you a financial enabler will be part two. Lending money to family and friends is July 26th, and we're going back to back then. Thank you for joining. Thank you everybody for watching on Facebook or Eventbrite or Zoom, and stay tuned. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. Thank you, everyone.